Hi, this is David from Discover Florida Tours, and we're at the Rainbow River near Dunnellon, Florida, to learn about this beautiful 5.7-mile spring run into the Withlacoochee River. We'll tell you what to know about the first magnitude spring that feeds the Rainbow River and introduce you to some of the plants and animals that live here. But first, let's talk about why Florida is home to more first and second magnitude springs than any other state in the nation. Florida is sitting on top of a giant platform of carbonic rock, mostly limestone, that is 2 to 3 miles thick in some places. Normal rainwater has a pH of about 5.6. That makes it slightly acidic. This is because carbon dioxide in the atmosphere gets into it and creates a weak carbonic acid. When it rains, the acid chemically reacts with the carbonic rock, causing some of it to dissolve, and over time, you get solution caves, the most common variety of cave. The surrounding limestone is porous and soaks up water like a sponge, eventually creating cracks and fissures that fill with water. The result is the Floridan Aquifer, the largest aquifer in the southeast United States and one of the most extensive networks of underground caverns anywhere in the world. A spring is formed when the groundwater, which is under pressure, flows out through a natural opening in the ground. Most of the more than 1,000 springs in Florida are not connected to each other, but have their own associated network of caverns, which are popular with divers and explorers, but can also be very dangerous. Peacock Springs in Live Oak, Florida, has one of the largest underwater caves in the continental United States, with over 38,000 feet of explored passageways. The Rainbow River is really a group of interconnected springs that flow together to form a channel. In addition to the head spring located within Rainbow River State Park, there are numerous smaller springs scattered alongside and on the bottom of the river for most of its 5.7-mile length. The stream fed by the springs is called a spring run. Some other nearby springs form their own spring runs that flow into the Rainbow River. Following these can be an interesting side quest while you're exploring the area. If you add up the many springs that form the Rainbow River, it makes up the second largest system in Florida in terms of water flow, with over 490 million gallons of groundwater discharged every day. That water merges with the Withlacoochee River at the town of Dunnellon. Dunnellon was founded in 1887, and 2 years later, in 1889, huge deposits of high-grade phosphate rock were discovered there. You know, the good stuff. And Dunnellon became a boomtown. Land that had been selling for as little as $1.25 an acre shot up to as high as $300 an acre, and by 1894, more than 200 phosphate mining companies were operating in the area. The phosphate was mainly used for agricultural fertilizer, and it's still a giant industry in Florida today. In my Egmont Key video, I pointed out that Tampa was the busiest port by tonnage in the state, and the majority of the outbound weight is still phosphate. In Dunnellon, however, the mines were mostly played out by the year 1910. The center of production shifted south, and Dunnellon went back to being a sleepy little town. Today, the population of Dunnellon is about 2,000 people. In the 1930s, Rainbow Springs, the head spring of the Rainbow River, became a privately owned theme park. Rock excavated from the old phosphate mining pits was piled up and used to create artificial waterfalls around the Rainbow River. A zoo, rodeo, gift shop, and monorail were later added in classic Florida roadside attraction style. It remained open until the mid-1970s, but the opening of Walt Disney World in 1971 and Dunnellon getting bypassed by the interstate highway system forced the attraction to close. In 1990, the property was acquired by the state of Florida to be managed as a state park. One of the first things you'll notice when you get out on the river is the abundance of seagrass along the river bottom. The two most common grasses are called Sagittaria and Vallisneria. Sagittaria forms underwater meadows in cool, clear, swift-flowing streams. These meadows give fish and crabs a place to hide and provide food for small animals at the bottom of the food chain. I think manatees would also like to eat this grass, but sadly there are no manatees on the Rainbow River today due to human intervention. Manatees generally come to Florida springs in winter when the constant year-round 72-degree water becomes the warmest place to be. However, when the Cross-Florida Barge Canal locks, a series of lock and dam structures, ceased operation in 1999, the last access point for manatees coming from the Gulf of Mexico was blocked. There are river otters though, which are fun to see, and plenty of turtle species. Lots of fish make the Rainbow River their home. According to the State Water Management District, 27 different species of fish have been collected from the spring run, including largemouth bass, long-nosed gar, and striped mullets. We found schools of little sunfish that have clearly been spoiled by people. It's probably never a good idea to feed wildlife, but these guys were big fans of peanut butter crackers. The state park has a strict limit on how many people they let onto the river at a time, and for good reason in my opinion, and so on weekends and holidays there are sometimes giant queues to get in. We usually visit the Rainbow River around the 4th of July holiday, and so after 1 year of waiting in line at the park, we realized the best thing to do if you're visiting for a couple of days is to rent one of the houses along the river. Every home here has water access, and most come with kayaks or paddleboards to use, and the cost isn't usually much more than a decent hotel room, so if you can afford it, I think this is definitely the way to go. The Rainbow River was once named Wakiwa Creek. Wakiwa is a Creek Seminole word that means spring of water. Archaeological evidence suggests that these clear blue waters have attracted people for over 10,000 years. Mastodon and mammoth bone from the Ice Age have been found here, and Rainbow Springs is only about 20 miles from the Crystal River Archaeological State Park, which was a thriving American Indian village during the Mississippian period. If you're spending a few days in the area, consider a trip to the historic mounds at Crystal River as well. On average, the Rainbow River is less than 10 feet deep. However, there are some places where the depth is about 25 feet, mostly around the spring vents. The Rainbow River does have alligators, but they almost never venture too close to the popular swimming areas. Just be sure to look around for them before you get in the water. I never feel safe swimming in freshwater in Florida when I can't see the bottom, but the Rainbow River is so clear that I feel comfortable getting in the water anywhere on the spring run. The Rainbow River was registered as a natural landmark in 1972, an aquatic preserve in 1986, and an outstanding Florida waterway in 1987. The state park is over 1,400 acres and features a variety of habitat types and interesting wildlife, and there is also an interpretive room in the visitor center. Please like this video and take a moment to click the subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this. If you live in the Tampa Bay area or are planning a visit and interested in Florida history, come on the Jungle Prada Tour. There's a link in the description to our website. In the meantime, thanks for watching this video about the Rainbow River, and thanks for discovering Florida with us.